from Rock and Roll Reviews, and I'm in Edinburgh with Snake from Skid Row,
whose also name is Dave from Skid Row, and I'm not from Edinburgh.
Cool guy.
But I wouldn't mind being from Edinburgh. This is a badass place. Yeah, it's a great place, man. Great place.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I remember it this time. Every other time I've been here, I've been so hammered with all the locals that I don't recall. Everyone tells me stories the next day. I'm like, as long as I wasn't an asshole. Oh no, you were fine. You were fine. No more of an asshole than usual.
Awesome. How's your tour been going? You were in Hull last night?
We were in Hull last night, Cambridge the night before, and we started a tour in Bristol. This part of the world has always been amazing to us since 1989. I mean, for some reason the people have remained loyal, and we're very respectful of the audience. I mean, they allow us to play music for a living, you know, which is, it's pretty amazing. It's very humbling. And so whenever we get the opportunity to come over, we make it a point that we attempt to play as many shows as we can. So I think we're doing 10 total shows in the UK this time, and then we have 4 weeks in Europe with Saxon, the mighty Saxon.
Awesome.
Yeah, and but for us, it's I don't know, man. It's been something really cool that we've just come to realize that we're pretty blessed that we still get to do this after 25 years. Yeah. You know, we get to go out on stage and play the music that we've created. Somehow we've been able to affect people in a positive way, and for us, that's the big payoff, man. And you know, anytime when anyone's feeling like a little bit under the weather or shitty, it's like, man, we get to play music for a living. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we do, and it's awesome, and it's really, it puts everything in perspective when you look at it like that. You know, and that's not to say that we haven't always looked at it like that, but it's just become more pronounced in the last few years for whatever reason. You know, I see so many artists struggling in this day and age. It's a completely different music business, so it's so much harder to get your name out there, to get visibility. And so the position that we're in, having been able to have a history that we have, we're really fortunate, and we don't take that lightly.
Sure. Shows are sold out and everything.
It's
amazing.
It's been great, man. I mean, you know, how can you complain?
No, you can't.
You know,
you can't complain.
No, definitely not.
Your new EP, Rise of the Damnation Army, Chapter 2, came out in August.
Yeah.
And it was we loved it. The Rock and Roll Reviews. Thanks for reposting the review on your Facebook. Much appreciated.
Sure.
It was a follow-up to your 2013 EP. What I wanted to ask was, what brought you to the decision to release a series of EPs rather than like full-length albums?
People don't have the time that they used to have. You know, for me, growing up and still is up until, you know, this information overload started just drowning us. You used to be able to kick back for an hour and listen to a new record by a band that you loved or a new band that you were discovering. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So, as opposed to overwhelming people, we'd rather just give them brief musical hits, and 7 songs. It's 30 minutes. It doesn't take up too much of your time. Hopefully, leads you wanting more, and also affords us the opportunity to sell it cheaper. It's less time in the studio, so there's no burnout. And then it's also, we can deliver music on a more frequent basis. Whereas before, we'd do a record and we're not doing another record for 2 to 7 years. And that's not the way that we want to work anymore. And so this seems to be, from a creative standpoint, it seems to be very impactful on the way we go about writing. It seems to be the creative juices seem to flow more naturally that way. We're not putting a ton of pressure on ourselves to come up with 20-some songs for a full length, and it makes sure that we go out on the road for 6 or 8 months, come back home, work again, and go back on the road. So it's a nice mix. It's not like you're out on the road for 2 years, which is what we normally did. And that gets to be tiresome after a while. It kind of saps you some, at least us, some of that creative fire. And so when we do it like this, we found that we're much more energetic. There's an urgency and an immediacy to the music that maybe wouldn't have been there had we done it the old way.
Yeah,
sure. But everything's changing so much and has changed that you have to adapt. And I don't lament the past. I'm thankful that we're still able to sort of navigate through all the noise out there and still have the opportunity to release music.
Sure. Do you think in the future you're going to release another EP, or do you think?
We're going to do. This one will be a set of 3.
Oh, cool.
So we'll start working on it. We'll do some writing in January. We've done some writing already, but we consciously made a point not to write everything all at once, and we wanted everything to again maintain that urgency and that immediacy, and more of having the music be in the moment at that particular time where we're at. And this way it allows us to use the life experiences that we've gone through while touring the world and to apply that to the music as well.
Yeah. In particular, like themes that you've covered on these EPs, are they completely different each EP? The themes have been
No, I think there's a common thread that runs through all of them. We've pretty much had a common thread through all our music since our debut record. It's always been about individuality, but unity, strength in numbers, community, just doing the right thing, being good, just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Making sure that you and your bass player don't fucking kill each other.
And how the new songs been going down?
We're doing 2. We're doing 2 off the first EP and 2 off this EP, and it's cool because they have a great energy to them. And so I think if people aren't necessarily familiar with all the lyrics or the songs themselves, there's an energy and a groove that goes along with them that allows people to sort of navigate towards and get close to it, even if it's unfamiliar from like I said, like a lyrical perspective or something like that. There's it's like if you never heard the Immigrant Song, that groove forces you to get into it, So hopefully it seems like the vibe and the groove and the tempos of the songs, are grabbing people.
Yeah, definitely. You could hear that on the latest EP. It's still Skid Row, but it has that kind of modern, kind of fresh sound about it.
Oh, cool! Thank you.
Do you feel like your dynamic and kind of songwriting has changed at all over the last,
No.
On the go a while, but
only in the sense that with all technology that's afforded everybody at their fingertips, we're still the idiots that just go into a room and lock the door and shut off the phone and crack open a bunch of beers and just have a couple guitars and just jam. There's not even any amplifiers in the room, and a dictaphone or our iPhone, for the voice recording thing, and that's where our ideas are. And then we build upon them from there, and that's the way we've done it for 28 years now. Since we started the band. So that's what works for us. We've attempted to do it several different ways, and for some reason it's uncomfortable. And this for us, especially this last time, everything just flowed. From at one point I was still living in Los Angeles, and so we started writing some stuff out there, and it went really well. And then came back home. I moved back east, and we started writing down in Atlanta, and everything just flowed. This record was the most fun I've ever had making a Skid Row record. So there's a lot to be said for that. Rachel and I were just in lockstep the whole time, and the whole band was. And it just seemed like, I don't want to say easy, but we were at ease doing it. And one of the cool things about us too is that we sit there and we spend a lot of time in pre-production in a really small room at Rachel's house. And so we're in close quarters. And so we can hear everything that everybody's doing, and we're very, very particular about everything, kick drum patterns, guitar lines, blah 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 blah. And so being in that environment, it forces you to really be on top of your game, and thus when we go in the studio, it's a breeze, in and out.
You said yourself that you've had some kind of quiet time with in terms of releasing albums, and sometimes it's 3 years, sometimes it's 7 years. Do you think you'll have a more consistent kind of churn out of albums or material in the future? Do you think it's going to be
I do. I do for now, especially because the EPs have allowed us to do that. It's just takes so much pressure off, and again, I think it's something. I think more artists are moving towards that direction anyway. Well, that's neither here nor there, but I think it works for for the audience in general. You know, I mean, for me, I'm lucky enough where I can sit in my bunk in a bus and get into the whole Pink Floyd catalog. You know, but you know, people just don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but it's just the way life is.
Yeah. You might need to use your memory for this one. Do you remember the first album that you bought, and did it have any influence on you becoming?
Oh my gosh, yeah. The first album I bought, well, actually two, was Kiss Alive and Dressed to Kill. And it was at a record store called Sam Goody's. And I used to stare at Kiss Alive for hours while listening to that. Looking at all the people in the audience and reading those letters on the gatefold. Yeah, it actually was life-changing. Yeah, absolutely life-changing. So those two records will forever have a sacred place within me. Yeah. So yeah, I remember distinctly. I remember going there with one of my brothers. I remember exactly the bin. It was on my left-hand side. I mean, I remember the whole experience. Yeah. I remember coming home and opening up the plastic and pulling those records out. I remember staring at the back of Dressed to Kill, and the photo was a negative, so it looked like Gene Simmons had cross eyes. if you like kind of like squinted at the picture, looks like he's got cross eyes. It's hilarious. So yeah, those memories are forever burnt. I had the worst stereo in the world, but it didn't matter. You know. Yeah, those are experiences that I fear that there's a couple generations that are missing out on. You know, they'll never have those experiences. And again, like, I don't lament the past. I'm thankful that I had those experiences. You know, and those are, you know, I remember, you know, skipping school to go buy Iron Maiden Killers because it came out, I believe, on a Tuesday, and the record store was called Platypus. And my buddy Paul Binder and I skipped out of school. We wanted to be there when the store opened at 11 o'clock, so we were there. And the store opened, and the guy went in the back stock room and opened up the deliveries, and deliveries, there was Killers, and I had the first copy. Went back to his house because his parents worked during the day, so no one was there. Put it on, and then had a debate for the rest of the day and the weeks to come about which was better, the first record or that one. So the debate still goes on. So those experiences are really, man, it was a ritual. You know, it really was. There was just this whole process that went along with purchasing music, and that's gone now, you know, in a lot of ways. Yeah, but absolutely. It is what it is.
Do you still get a chance to listen to those albums?
Fuck yeah, man! Are you kidding me? I warm up to the first Iron Maiden album, Transylvania, down, 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 down. I mean, that's what I warm up to.
Awesome.
Yeah, I am beyond a fan of music. I mean, you know, to me, I'm still, yesterday I was in the dressing room learning the intro guitar solo to Sails of Sharon, for Uli John Roth and the Scorpions, because I've always wanted to learn it. And it turns out that he actually has a video on YouTube where he shows you how to do it. I'm like, yes! So I sat there and I learned it, you know, so I'm still a fan of guitar and guitar players and stuff, and there's always, I'm a fan of learning, you know, and those moments, man, that I can still experience stuff like that at the advanced age that I am is pretty awesome.
Our website covers everything from rock, punk, metal, and everything in between, but we also do movie reviews as well. Oh, okay. Do you get a chance to see many movies?
I don't, and I'm not a big fan because I always find that, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time I go to a theater and I'm slightly disappointed. Okay. Because of the hype or something like that, and the amount of money it costs or whatever. But yet I could see a movie on a plane that I'll absolutely love, but had I seen it in the theater, it probably wouldn't have been as good. Does that make sense? So, like, we'll actually talk about it. Yeah, it's a good plane movie, you know? Johnny, our singer, goes to movies all the time. I told him he should have a website and do movie reviews, because he's like, he's like knows how much money the movie grossed, the stars, what they were in previously, where they feel. I mean, he's like, you know, encyclopedic knowledge of this shit. Me, I mean, the last really good movie I think I saw was probably The Conjuring, which I loved, and saw it in the movie theater and was not disappointed, thankfully. And then we were going to go see Annabelle the other night before we left. And I'm not one normally for reviews, but I saw so many bad reviews on it that I was like, I'll watch it on the plane. But The Conjuring was really good, and I'm a fan of stuff like that. And you know, I'm familiar with Ed and Lorraine Warren and their work and stuff like that. So there was something that I was familiar with, not that particular story, but the characters I thought was really well done. And the first really good horror movie in a long time. You know, and so then it got me back into discovering stuff that never was like successful in the mainstream. You know, some Japanese movies and stuff like that, like Audition and things like that. Fucking crazy shit. I love movies like that, man. They call it torture porn or whatever, but it's fucking great. Like Audition is that'll fuck with your head. Man. It's good.
So after this tour, this run in the UK, what's next for Skid Row?
Well, then we have the run in Europe with Saxon, the mighty, indomitable Saxon, and then we're home in December. We're going to take the month off. You know, it's been a long year. I mean, we've been going straight since January 13th. You know, that's when I flew to Atlanta to finish writing the record, and we haven't stopped since, really. And so, take some time off, and Rachel and I were such idiots because we're like those brothers that can't stand each other but can't stand to be without each other type of thing. So we'll probably get together. We will get together in January and then start working on stuff and just hang out. Because he lives in Atlanta, I live in New York. So yeah, we can't live without each other for too long.
Awesome. Well, Snake, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, David. I appreciate it.
Check these guys out. Skid Row.